You are now listening to
the Primal Armor Podcast.
This episode is sponsored by Executive Fit LLC. They build custom deadlift platforms, custom barbell storage pieces, and make indoor and outdoor signage for your home or corporate gym. Every platform that pairs with a rack is customized to that specific rack, so everything fits nice and clean. And they ship nationwide. Each platform has a logo applied in a way that makes it impossible to peel up from wear and tear. They even make custom nameplates for your squat rack. Visit executivefitllc.com to request a quote and see what's available on their store. That's executivefitllc.com to upgrade your deadlift game today. Welcome to episode 63 of the Primal Armor Podcast. The weather is starting to get colder and colder out, which means that bulkier clothes are coming out, and people start to begin to bunker down and eat more and more since it's easier to hide those extra pounds under those coats and sweatshirts. But because of that, we have to hold ourselves more accountable. We aren't wearing tank tops, swimming suits, or having our shirts off like we do in the summer. So those pounds can really start to add on quick, and before you know it, it's too late. But one of the most beneficial things that you can be doing with your diet is eating a diet with lots of protein. Every single cell in your entire body is made of protein, so why wouldn't you want to eat more of it in your diet? It's also the most satiating macronutrient there is, so it'll keep you fuller for longer. So not only does it keep you away from eating so many carbs during meals, it will also keep you on track because it'll keep those snack cravings away because you won't be hungry all the time. But how much is enough protein? And that's a question that not many people know. Recommendations usually say that to make your diet about 10 to 35% protein. But that's a huge range. The upper range is literally triple. So that can be so confusing to those who don't know how much protein they should be eating. For the average person, for someone who doesn't even work out, you should be eating a gram of protein for every pound of body weight that you are. So for example, if you're a 150-pound person, you need to be eating at least 150 grams of protein throughout the day. And if you weigh 200 pounds, you need to be eating 200 grams of protein throughout the day. And that's just for your average sedentary person, because that'll help get you enough calories in the day to keep you away from snacking and filling your face with carb-filled junk food. But if you're someone who works out regularly, you should be eating about 1.5 times your body weight in pounds. So if you're 200 pounds, let's say, you should be getting roughly 300 grams of protein in. And if you're 150 pounds, you should be getting about 225 grams of protein in. But if you're someone who's a highly competitive athlete and lifting heavy and getting intense training sessions in, or maybe even getting multiple training sessions in a day, studies show that you can see returns at eating about 2.5 times your body weight in protein. So if you're a highly competitive athlete about 200 pounds, you could be eating up to 400 grams of protein in a day and still see returns. But if you've never seen 400 grams of protein before, that's almost a task in itself to eat that in an entire day. And a lot of people might say they're highly competitive athletes, but this is for like Olympians and NFL football players and stuff like that, where they're getting multiple training sessions in a day with practice and lifting and stuff like that. The average person who works out is about in that middle range where they eat about 1.5 times their body weight. Because like I was saying, if you're eating about 2 times your body weight in protein, that is a huge task of just trying to eat that much protein in a day. But that's why it's so good to fill your diet with protein. It's so filling. So it's hard to find room for other junk to eat. But when you're damaging your muscles during exercise, you need protein to help build those muscles. If you aren't eating enough protein, then you aren't getting the most out of your workouts. So for just the average person, eating your body weight in protein is the goal to aim for. That's the bottom line. That's the shelf that you're aiming for. But if you're someone who works out regularly, try to aim for just a little bit higher than that, like 1.5 times your body weight. Protein is a macro that you want to load up on because there's only 4 calories per gram. And compared to fats, which are 9 calories per gram, that's less than half the amount of calories. So think about it. Eating protein keeps you fuller for longer, and it has less calories than fats. And it's one of the macronutrients that's packed into tons of our foods. So it's the perfect way to take hold of a diet to lose some weight. But if you're eating that much protein, you're also going to be gaining muscle. So right there, that's the cheat code to transform your body, especially going into these winter months. You don't want to go into spring next year looking like the Pillsbury Doughboy. You want to surprise everyone when spring rolls around and swimsuit season comes along, and then you'll start turning heads with all the progress that you made this winter just with this simple diet change: eating more protein. Over half of your cellular weight is made of protein, and that's every single cell in your entire body. So that's why it's so important to be getting sufficient amount of protein in your diet. And who doesn't like an excuse to be eating more things like steak and beef jerky? I know I'll take any excuse that I can to eat that stuff. So try to incorporate protein into your snacking and then into your meals, and really start to see where that difference in your body composition takes place. And then surprise everyone once spring comes around and show them your new transformation. Before we end today's episode, I'd like to give a quick shout out to Anchor Podcasts. They distribute this podcast, you guys, in just about any platform you may try to find us on, such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many, many more. All the recording, editing, and final touches are also done through Anchor, which makes getting the Primal Armor podcast out to you guys very quick, easy, and mobile. You guys can also submit questions or voice messages that I can add to our next episode. Go download the Anchor.fm app today to check out what it's all about. I just want to thank you for listening to today's podcast, and we'll see you back here again next week.